Those are signs of schools in America, and that's how it's going to be going forward, particularly the public schools. Hold on, looks like I have an echo here. See if I cut this off. I should still be live here. Make sure I'm hearing echo. One second. Anyway, so that video kind of gives you an idea of how public schools are going to be in America. Um, I've been a landlord for a long time, and these are some of the things that I think are kind of connected with housing. I think schools are closely related. I think the property values in most areas are kind of a reflection of the public school system. And as we allow more and more migrants in the country and the schools were dysfunctional, the schools would in effect become a battleground, but not a battleground for education, a battleground for the resources that are allocated to those schools. So I was just looking around at some big city school systems to kind of get an idea of what's going on in most of these major cities. And you start to see kind of this thing that video uh, started off was defining. This is my moment. These are our resources. Whose resources are they? How they will allocate. That would be the battleground for the new America. So let's take a look at one of the school systems in America. I'll show you from here. And you should see this is Miami. I'm sorry, Chicago. This drew my attention to this. I'm looking here at the Chicago public school system. And what you find interesting is $23 billion stolen. You take a look. Missing devices, criminal charges, sexual abuse investigation. And we've taken more than 77,000 electronic devices stolen. 70,000. They're basically looting the system. There's no other way around it. If you look at some of the quotes from the article, many cases involved equipment that was assigned to students or staff and never returned without any consequence. The OIG found that 3 dozen separate schools, 100% of tech devices assigned were never returned. So let's take a look at this article. They're blaming flawed inventory and recovery process. That's the term they use. I rather say stealing, fraud, and theft, but fair enough. During this period, the OIG received over 2,000 complaints of misconduct, waste, fraud, mismanagement, and adult on student sexual misconduct. It's just a den of thieves. They're stealing and picking up the students that have sex with. That's what this public school system has devolved. Those cases included an assistant who was charged after allegedly stealing close to 275,000. This is the assistant principal. Imagine what the principal is stealing. Oops. Numerous employees accused of fraudulently obtaining PPP loans. 8 cases of substantiated adult on student sexual assault, as well as tech equipment. But here's what I thought interesting, at least from this article. When CPS switched to full remote learning during the pandemic, the Chicago public school system spent $165 million on tech devices, iPads, books, Windows. A few years back in PG County, there was a public school corruption scam where they basically were doing kickbacks for selling iPads, stuff like that, to the boyfriend of one of the school executives. I imagine probably more along the same lines. $77,000 missing, with the original purchase price topping $23 million. I bet that was an inflated price. Ended up, but here's what's some students lost up to 5 tech assets during 1 year. At one school, 5 devices assigned to one fifth grade student were marked lost, and 4 assigned to his first grade assistant, and she also lost. At the same school, 2 sisters and a brother each were listed 3 lost tech devices. The OI, that's nothing fraud, nothing but theft. These people are stealing, and that is more or less the purpose of the Chicago public school system: jobs, theft, corruption, and I guess in this case, even sex with the kids in school. Then if you move on to New Jersey, which is notorious for corruption, and they're facing a lot of diversity issues in their school, you'll see something like this. Patterson School District spending on school guards, $10 million. This is June 2024. The proposed $10 million contract with Allied Universal Security Service of Pennsylvania and New Jersey will require the district to pay the private firm $32 per hour for each security guard and roughly $40 for supervised teachers. How many security guards will ensure? Let's see. For the current, the district has had 2 security contracts with Allied, totaling $9 million. The contract will increase it 5%, and I think this 5% is equals due to salary increases. I don't think increase in officers. Here's one thing about this school system, and I think it applies to all schools, school districts around the country. At Wednesday's board meeting, the vice president said violence in city schools were not adequately reported, documented. And there's a reason why we're not documenting these violence incidents in the schools. I know everyone wants to make it seem like their school is squeaky clean if nothing is going on there. They have made the staff swear to silence in some schools, to not report anything. Staff are afraid to report things for fear of retaliation. Retaliation from whom, you might ask? And basically, they're afraid of retaliation from their superiors, not the students. All of those bills are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Federal funds, state funds, to fund these. And the teachers and everyone is along to keep the money, the greater train on it. I guess you can blame them. Education is not the goal. Money is, and that's what they're after. We'll take a look at one more school system here. And this is Miami, right? Home of Trayvon, if you remember Trayvon Martin. And I think this is one of the schools that he may have gone to several schools. I remember it was one of the schools. Let's take a look at it, and you'll listen to things. Let's see if I can volume. Stop it. Here. Okay. I'm gonna read that video. Just the level of the video is really great.
The mayhem ended with some of those students in handcuffs in Cherney. People say this isn't the first time something like this has happened.
Yeah, and it's a big concern for business owners in this area as well.
He is kind of cute. I must say that.
Also, late last night, police did confirm that the school or the brawl actually began on school grounds, but that didn't end there. It actually spilled into the parking lot and it ended here at this gas station. But I want to show you just how close we are to the school. So we're actually just a block away. We're going to pan the camera because just throughout this parking lot is where the incident continued, but the school is actually on the other end of this parking lot. So really just a block of chaos that was happening. The melee moving into this parking lot in front of several businesses, causing multiple injuries. Now, NBC6 spotted students slamming each other to the ground. Teachers and
We
administrators,
got big.
they ran over to try to break things up, but they were really fist
I mean, look at that right there.
flying all over this parking lot, and more spilling into the Raceway gas station here on Northwest 183rd Street. We spotted at least one student being put in handcuffs and then being released a short time later. And we spoke to the gas station manager, who says this is definitely not the first time that
No
she has
shirt.
seen teens get into trouble.
I've already been expecting it every day, so I'm already calling the police.
Well, she shared video with us of a fight she says happened just last week. Cell phone video shows the violent scene from that fight, and she says she thinks the fight could escalate.
I mean, these aren't even schools. These are like training and fight facilities. Kids go there to fight, have lunch, find someone to have sex with later on that day. But they're not learning it. That's the premise that they use to get all the funding, all the school funding. No one's learning anything. How can you learn anything in an environment like that? And so the next logical question is, what are they looking for? It's clearly more. There's only reason someone would show up every day with no goal of educating these kids. They're doing it for money. And so that was Miami, which is probably one of the worst case of the school system that we've seen in terms of violence. But there are more. And to make the point, I want to look at Minneapolis. Minneapolis is your interest. This is a state that was once majority white, and now is being flooded with Somalis, the blacks, the whites, and the diversity just isn't working out. So let's take a look at this. Minnesota schools see 2 fights involving hundreds at separate basketball games this week. Basketball. So we know who the victims are. The suspects are here. The suspects. 2 fights involving hundreds of people on 2 consecutive nights broke out in Minneapolis basketball game. The first was during a high school girls' game, girls, where Minneapolis was hosting Patrick Henry. I mean, they should really change the name of these schools. Patrick Henry. It led to both schools canceling their games Thursday night. Something the Minneapolis public schools say was required by the high school league. The fight started between players on the court and quickly escalated to players, fans, parents joining the fight. According to the NPD, by the time officers responded, the fight had ended and people were leaving the property. NPD says no injuries were reported. Here's what's interesting. Wednesday night, a day later, as many as 2 people, adults, fans, and children involved in a fight following a middle school basketball game. According to Minneapolis police, officers were called to a brawl at Sullivan STEAM School. For those of you not familiar with STEAM, STEAM is, they've added to STEM. So I think STEAM is architectural or something like that. So science, technology, engineering, architecture, and whatever the hell it's for. Math. Police arrived, broke up the place, and told everyone to leave the area. Again, look at the mayhem at these schools. And it reminds me of a thought. And before I get to it, I'll switch to this last video and let's share this. Here's a mother whose daughter was killed from a school fight.
It's gonna be, I don't know, just I wanna die.
Maria Juarez is devastated. Her 16-year-old daughter, Shaylee Mejia, has died. She believes as a result of this altercation inside the girls' bathroom at Manual Arts High School in South LA on Tuesday, March 5th. Maria says her daughter hit her head badly, but didn't tell her about it because her daughter didn't want to worry her mother, who's a single parent trying to raise 2 kids, Shaylee and her little 3-year-old brother.
He's sad. He missed his sister.
Maria says the next few days, her daughter complained that her head was hurting.
My daughter, she has like a headache and she said, "Mom, I don't want to tell you something. I don't want to how to say, I worry about that. This."
Her mom says on Saturday, March 9th, Shaylee got gussied up and headed
That's a cute girl. I imagine they probably attacked her for how attractive she is.
to a birthday party. Shaylee apparently fainted and was rushed to a hospital by a friend. Why did her friend take her to the hospital?
Because she fell down. She fell down and then she doesn't talk.
Maria says the doctors told her her daughter had a lot of brain damage.
The doctor, he said he has a lot of damage for the head.
Maria tells us her daughter never regained consciousness and was pronounced dead 6 days later on March 15th. It was only then that her mom says she learned of the fight at school and saw the video for the first time.
Inside, my daughter, she hit the head.
Hit her head.
Mhm.
Maria says her daughter had been getting bullied at school ever since she started there last fall. She tells us this is another incident
I mean, they literally find out men here.
inside the school's bathroom from December. Maria says she filed a police report with school police after that incident and showed them the video. With the school police?
Mhm.
From the first fight?
Yes.
And what'd they say?
Nothing.
But she says they never did anything and now blames them for her daughter's death.
Everybody know when my daughter
It's a really strange story. But again, all these schools are fight clubs, sex clubs, places for graft that you can make more money from serving a disabled kid than a kid that really has some ability, ability to maybe benefit from the education. And it made me think of something I learned in economics years ago. The tragedy of the commons is the economic term for a social and political in which each individual is incentivized to act in a way that would ultimately be harmful to all individuals. And I think that is really what's happening in the public school system is that no one has interest in improving the schools or their interests pale in comparison to the amount of graft, money, sex that they can get out of the positions, be it the mayor or superintendent. There's so much money that the education is faded to the background. And that was all about money. So I've long been people, you have to figure out a better way to educate your kids. I'm not saying it's out of public school, but you have to understand that the school, they're not about education. And if you don't believe it, go in with this video here, the mayor of Chicago, and he's going to kind of lay it all out. And he'll tell you exactly in his words where his allegiance lies in, what he thinks about public education. So let me share this screen with you. And so again, this is the mayor of Chicago, and he's speaking on his view of education and how he should be judged and measured. And you'll see it here.
And why? So I personally don't give a lot of attention to grades. I don't. My responsibility is not simply to just grade the system, but to fund the system. That's how I'm ultimately going to grade whether or not our public school system is working, based upon the investments that we make for the people who rely upon it.
Well, there you have it. He bases his performance as mayor. I'm sorry. If you can see the video, let me share that video one more. You're able to see it. Let's see. I think I made that bad. I want to play it one more time, just so you can really get it. So sink in what this mayor did.
Let's move on to something that I know is very close to your heart. which is education. As a former educator and longtime employee of the Chicago Teachers Union, what grade would you give the current system and why?
So I personally don't give a lot of attention to grades. I don't. My responsibility is not simply to just grade the system, but to fund the system. That's how I'm ultimately going to grade whether or not our public school system is working, based upon the investments that we make for the people.
One thing we need to do again, the job is to fund the system. Results begin. And this is what become of American school system. It's a failure to try to become. But anyway, comments or any questions, feel free to post in the chat or feel free to jump on the if you like. Otherwise, this chat for today. Thank you all for coming. It's been an interesting topic of mine as I kind of analyze that bullshit. People make decisions on how based on the school system. And now that the school systems are failing, will they still calculate that into housing, how the housing prices address the art just failing public school system? Shall be interesting to see. But as I said in the title, in this new America, public school will be the battlegrounds. Thanks for joining.